What's up, guys? I'm Eli. Back for another, it's kind of regular old collection video. I'll probably be doing an update. It won't be massive, but I'll be doing like a collection update pretty soon. I have some stuff coming in the mail. I picked some stuff up at some local stores, what have you. Yeah, so anyway, I don't know which number this is. I've done quite a lot of them by now. Still in the letter B, but about to finish it off. And I had somebody comment the other day saying that he hadn't seen my dog Louie in a while, so I was gonna. He kind of just comes and goes in videos because he's always around me. But yeah, thought I'd for new viewers I'd introduce him. In case you haven't ever seen my dog Louie, he's in at least probably 30-40% of my videos. But Louie, come here, come here. This is Louie. He is my dog, obviously. He's 3 years old. He's an English Pointer Black Lab mix, and yeah, he's pretty cool. Pretty big pain in the ass. So yeah, there we go. Kind of disoriented right now. I couldn't hardly get any sleep last night, and I don't feel like myself right now. I feel like I'm kind of just floating through someone else's body. So my English is going to be even worse than it usually is, so that should be fun. Anyways, let's get this started. So we got 10 CDs, and starting with, this is something that I don't even remember where I got this album. It might have been given to me or something like that, because I don't. It's a name most of us are familiar with, but a lot of metal fans probably haven't heard a whole lot of. That is Brian Eno with NerveNet. Brian Eno, I was actually first introduced to this man through his work with Talking Heads. He produced a couple of their better albums. So I knew him as a producer. I didn't really know his music very well. From what little research I've done, he's been around making music since like the fucking 70s, something like that. He's been around a long time. He's done many different genres, going from pop to rock to ambient, and yeah, I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. He seems like an intriguing guy. I'm just anything non-metal. I hate to be that fucking idiot, but it takes me a while to get into. I'm not saying I don't like it. I do like some non-metal stuff, but I might hear about it and then not actually listen to it for 10 years or something. So anyways, this album is pretty cool. I've probably listened to it 4 or 5 times since I've had it. What would I call it? It's kind of an electronic ambient album. It's got a lot of different sounds on here. So yeah, I guess I'd put it in that category. It's pretty good. I don't know how it stacks up to the rest of its discography, honestly. Couldn't tell you. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty intriguing album. It caught my attention, or kept my attention for the few times I've heard it. I'm sure some of you guys can probably elaborate a little bit more on, like I said, my knowledge on the guys, just kind of from what I've read. Nothing like a fucking warm-ass energy drink in the morning. Tasting all like cough syrup and shit. Alright, next. As you guys, some of you know probably if you've caught on to it, I'm a pretty big stand-up comedy fan, and I don't have a ton of stand-up CDs and DVDs and stuff like that. I need to get more, but I have a few. And one of my favorite comedians, and one of my favorite people over the years, Brian Posehn, live in Nerd Rage. Brian Posehn's, he's got 2 CDs that were released by Relapse, which I thought was kind of cool. I've had them since they came out. Some say I kind of look like him, or at least that's probably going to be me in 10 years or so. But anyways, lucky me. Yeah, Brian Posehn, if you're not too familiar with him, he's an actor, comedian, and which is kind of a rarity in the stand-up comedy field, but he's a big metal fan. He's been a metal fan. He's like 50 years old or something like that. And he's been a metal fan his whole life since like the early 80s. So that's to me, that's always been cool. Obviously, that wouldn't be enough for me to want to follow his work. I think he's a really funny guy too. And honestly, I've caught him live twice in like the last year and a half. And honestly, he's gotten better as he's gotten older. Material here is pretty good. Some of it kind of ranges from good to kind of average, but I feel like he's stepped his game up in the last couple of years, which is awesome. Next we have the second CD he put out on Relapse, Fart and Wiener Jokes. How can you go wrong with that? Got a little Manowar-esque cover with him killing a bunch of shitty comedians like Jeff Foxworthy and whoever else. But yeah, man, he's been doing a lot of touring lately. So if you're a stand-up fan, you might be able to catch him. I think he's on the road right now. Next, we have a band that I know a lot of people are kind of torn on. Hell, I'm kind of torn on them. Like some of their stuff, I don't think any of it's great. I find a lot of it pretty listenable and enjoyable when the mood strikes, but definitely not anything I could live without. Broken Hope with their album Repulsive Conception. This is the first album I've ever had of theirs. My buddy John recommended it to me. Was saying how he thought they were underrated and really good, and I don't know, man. I'm not going to really agree with that. My buddy in question has very good taste, but I don't know. This is a decent album. It's not the worst thing they've done. It's not the best, but like I said, even the best of their stuff is it's average at best. So anyways, I think most of you have heard Brutal Truth. This album came out on Metal Blade Records in '95. They just play kind of an old school brutal death metal. I've heard most of their albums, actually. I might have heard them all. They do vary a little bit, so they have experimented here and there, but for the most part, I have nothing bad to say about them, but they're certainly not one of my favorite bands, and I don't find them amazing or anything, even though I own 3 albums of theirs. I saw them live one time, and they put on a decent live show, and I bought, just for the fuck of it, I bought a couple CDs from them, because I hadn't heard them at the time. So one of them was what's it called? Grotesque Blessings. I did not like this album. This album was a little bit more on the experimental side, I guess you could say. I don't know. I don't really know what to call it, but it didn't. I think I've listened to it once or twice tops, and it just didn't do anything for me. And the final, I want to say the last Broken Hope album I'll probably ever own, but I do actually enjoy their first 2. I don't own those. I'd probably pick them up if I found them cheap. But this is their last full length, I think. Omen of Disease. Pretty kind of a cool album cover, I guess. Typical brutal death metal fare. It's got a bonus DVD from Century Media, which I never watched. This was their comeback album, I guess you could say. They hadn't had anything out in many years before this. What can I say, man? I mean, I listened probably 3-4 times just because I wanted to soak it in, like I do most things that I buy. And I can't give it more than a 5 or a 6. But once again, that's just me. I'm not trying to bash on anyone. That's kind of how I feel about them. Also, I mean, that kind of death metal is really not my cup of tea necessarily, so I'm probably not the best judge. Once again, like I said, not trying to bash on anyone or anything, just that's my personal thought on Broken Hope. Next, we have a band that I've enjoyed for quite a lot of years at this point, Brujeria, whatever. Matanda Garros. Once again, a fucking white dude trying to pronounce Spanish shit. Tried to do Finnish the other day. I don't know what I was thinking there. This is their debut album from Roadrunner Records. We all know, I mean, it's a pretty, I guess you could call it an iconic album cover. I like Brujeria, actually. I've heard most of their stuff. I always thought it was kind of cool, just the fact that they were, they're kind of, what would you call it, their gimmick, I guess you would say, where they're pretending to be like, Mexican, and they are all Mexicans, but or most of them are Mexicans, the revolving lineup, but the kind of drug cartel thing with the masks and stuff, and talking about killing white people and stuff. I always got a kick out of it, and I really do like this album, and I like some of their other stuff too. Moving on. I only have 2 Brujeria CDs. This is the other one I own, Brujerismo. This is from also Roadrunner Records. This is one of their more recent albums, but I think it's more than 10 or 15 years old by this point. 2000. So yeah. Not nearly as good as their debut album, but I've kind of had a love-hate relationship with this album. Sometimes I'll put it on, I'll really like it. Hold on. Louis, stop. He wants to go for a walk, so I don't know if you guys can hear him whining. Anyway, this album, sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. It's really simplistic. the guitarist from this band is that one dude from Fear Factory, and I felt like he, at least on the earlier material, he had done a pretty good job in separating the two. But this album, it's just kind of, it almost sounds like a Fear Factory album, which just kind of throws me off a little bit. But it's decent. It's not horrible. Next, we have, sadly, the only thing I own from this band. I need to get their first couple full lengths, or really anything they've done, because it's all good from what I've heard. But that is Brutality, Ruins of Humans. This is an EP they put out a couple years ago, 4 years ago by now. I think they self-released it. Just a 2-song EP, but it was a some comeback material that they had to offer to make said comeback, and I thought it was really fucking good. 2 songs, very promising. I've heard that I think they self-released a full length a couple years back too, a little bit after this, and I heard that was actually pretty good and fairly well received. So I'd like to get that. Yeah, I mean, it's just 2 songs, but it was cool. It sparked my interest, or re-sparked my interest in the band. It was cool to see that they still have it. At least I thought they did, or think they do. And number 10, final album, we have the mighty debut from fucking Brutal Truth. Extreme conditions demand extreme responses. Oh man, what can I say about this? It's first pressing, Earache Records. This album is awesome. I like everything they've done. At least I haven't heard their last. Actually, I haven't heard anything they've done post probably like 2000. But anyway, I should probably check it out. Their old stuff is fantastic, man. I really can't add anything to it that you already haven't heard. American Death Grind at its finest. This band, I'm not a big grind guy, but there's obviously more than enough death metal for any death metal fan to sink his teeth into on this and on their first couple albums. But one of the things that really caught my attention from this band was singer Kevin Sharp, man. That dude is just a ferocious frontman. I mean, just some of the most maniacal, rabid dog type death metal vocals I've ever heard. It's definitely something that I look forward to every time I listen to Brutal Truth. There's nothing standard or cookie cutter going on with his vocals. He is just all over the place. It's pretty unbelievable. I don't know how his lungs can handle it, but it's awesome shit. Their first 2 albums obviously are definitely the best, but their third album I thought was pretty good too. Back when Earache put out good music and weren't a bunch of cocks. Or at least they probably were, I just didn't know it yet. But anyways, that's it guys, 10 CDs. Got a couple cool ideas for some future videos. Who knows when they'll happen, but they'll happen eventually. Also, I'm going to be moving. I know I just kind of moved into this apartment like late last year, but it was a short lease, and I have decided to move. I wasn't a really big fan of this the apartment complex I moved into, so had an opportunity to get out, and I'm going to do it. So I'm moving. I'm still going to do videos and stuff like that. I'm going to be crashing until I find a place that I really want. I'm going to be crashing with a buddy for a while, and I still have another couple months of school left, so it'll be nice to save money, save a little extra money. So yeah, I'm still going to do the videos. I'm just going to take all my collection and stuff. I'm just going to box it up, and I'll just kind of unbox my own collection and do videos and stuff. I'll do them. They won't be here. I'll just do them kind of whenever. I'll do them in my car or something like that. So it's going to be a little different, but same content, just different location, I guess. So might be kind of cool. Who knows? So that's all I got for you guys. Hope everyone's having a good week. I'm fucking exhausted already. I'm ready for the weekend. All that boring shit. But anyways, yeah, thanks for stopping by. We'll talk soon. Bye.